Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Beck, and I am going to walk you guys through a tutorial for your InDesign project working on a kind of tech journal. So first, we are going to kind of go through how to open up these files. So you could either double click. I like to drag and drop the file into InDesign to get it started. Once the file is open, you might notice that there are some missing fonts. Don't worry about that. This is pretty normal. We'll go through this quickly and replace the fonts. The font that I chose is Arial. And so we will go up, select the font family that we're replacing, Arial. And Roman is usually a font that is another word for regular. We'll change all there. Arial Black exists. It's just sometimes it can be a little weird with the numbers. And Avenir is a font that I switched over, so that's kind of a leftover, so I'll switch that to Arial Black instead. And that should be everything there. So you'll notice when opening InDesign for the first time, it will most likely look something closer to this. So your workspace in InDesign can be kind of customized. I find that this workspace, the Essentials workspace, is very difficult to work with. I usually like to go to typography, so we'll go there. It might look a little overwhelming, but bear with me. The typography workspace kind of has all the options that you're looking to use when working with page layouts. So I just wanted to show you guys quickly, these tabs over here are very important. There's your Layers tab, which will kind of identify all the items that are present in your page. To kind of clean things up a little bit, you can double tap on these little tabs here to kind of shrink them a bit. And you can drag and pull down to make the workspace a little bigger. So on this page, to scroll left to right, you can hold down Control, and then with your wheel of your mouse, you can scroll left to right. You can also zoom in and out by holding Alt, and again, scrolling in and out. And to kind of scroll up and down, you can just use the scrolling wheel. And here you see all the layers are here. You can kind of rename the category. Double click. Let's just say page 1. Why not? And you'll see that all the different images, all the different text boxes will be here on the side. By clicking the eyes, you will hide things. And clicking in that same box, you'll bring them back up. And next to it are these locks. And you click on those so that when you click around on the page, it doesn't move anything around. Otherwise, whenever you start to click on the page, things will start to move. And it'll get a little messy, a little faster, especially when you're trying to move things around. So I'm going to lock at least that part. So next I would like to show you guys the Pages tab. Here, this will kind of be a big breakdown of all the pages available in your document. You can kind of quickly switch to different pages by double clicking on them. And when you kind of have a page in your template that you would like to duplicate, you can highlight both pages, right click, and then go down. You could either insert pages, move pages, or duplicate. When you duplicate them, they will pop up right underneath the pages you duplicated. So I also want to quickly tell you guys how to place any files or images. So I have an image of a pie that I'm going to drag and drop into the file. When you kind of drag and drop into it kind of haphazardly, it'll kind of show up the image in your cursor. and you can drag and pull to kind of place the image in any size that you would like. You can also drag and drop into a pre-existing box, and it will kind of appear in the box as is. And you can also right-click, go to Fitting, and fill frame proportionally. And then it'll fill up the entire frame with the photo. It might not be what you're looking for, so you can also double-click on it. And then the blue box will expand to this big red box showing where that image is in terms of the cropped blue box itself. So one click, it's a blue box. Double click, you're selecting the image within the bounding box. And you can move it around. You can also, if you hold Shift, you can scale things proportionally from a certain corner. If you hold Shift Alt makes it anchored to the middle of the image. And let's, it also has some guides that allow you to kind of snap the image into place proportionally to the parameters of the document. So let's just leave the image like that. Next, I would like to teach you guys a little bit about how to edit text. So you can kind of either just go from the selection tool, which is what I'm typically using, or the type tool. If you double click into a text box, you can start kind of typing out anything you would want. You can make paragraphs as you would like as well. And I would like to introduce you guys to paragraph styles. So in this file, we have paragraph styles that already exist that we have used to create this template. And so in this paragraph style, this one highlighted here is the body text in dark. On a darker, let's look at a darker one down here. It uses a different paragraph style that is filled with white. You'll notice sometimes there's a little check mark here. That means that there was an alteration to the paragraph style outside of the style itself. So for instance, you can ramp up the font size. You can even make the spacing between the lines bigger. However, it might get a little chaotic, a little fast. So you can always right click on this, apply body text light and clear overrides. By doing that, it'll just set it directly to what the body text should look like. So next, I would also like to show you guys the character styles. So character styles are very similar. However, they kind of make a quick alteration to whatever you have selected. So character styles has been used in parts of this document. For instance, where we have made the captions. So here there is a character style that has bolded this portion here, but the entire paragraph style is using image caption title dark. So if you have any more questions, feel free to ask Ryan or myself about how to use InDesign, and we can also supply you with all kinds of different helpful tutorials that might help you along your way. But next, I would like to show you guys how to export your documents, especially for this project. So you will want to kind of go up here. This is the toolbar, and under File, this is where you can find Create a New File, Open a File, Open Recent, Save Your File, and Save As. But also, further down, you can find the Export function. I will say Adobe PDF presets, you want to avoid exporting from here just because it's a little quick and It could be good every so often, but we're going to look at the export dialog box. So with the export dialog box, you are going to need to save the name of it. I already have one saved here. So if it's the same name, it will ask me, do I want to replace it? I'm going to say yes. And then you're shown this dialog box. So here are some presets that you can use. It might automatically start at high quality print. You don't really want to use this. It will make very nice files, but they will also be huge. So go to, I usually like to use press quality. This is typically an export format that you would use in the printing shop. And so you would save your file as press quality and then send it to a printmaker. Otherwise, smallest file size, it kind of creates very small files and it will compress your images maybe a little too small. So you'll see kind of the difference between press quality. It will compress your images to about 300 pixels per inch, but in smallest file size, it'll compress it to 100 pixels per inch. And I personally don't like that, but sometimes whenever you have such a big file, you'll kind of need to do whatever you have to do. So oftentimes I will start off with the smallest file size. I might bump this up back to 300 just because there are some other settings that are compressing this file as well. And I'm going to also bump this one to 300, pretty standard. Don't worry about the marks and bleeds. I would not recommend changing any of these unless you know what you're doing. And don't worry about the output for now. Just worry about the general. You can change like the range. Maybe you only want to export pages 5 through 9. And you want to make sure you always export it as pages. Whenever you export it as spreads, it will create a page will be these two pages linked together. And sometimes that's not what you're looking for. All right, so we will click export. And there is an error, some overset text on page 20. So what might that mean? Is that on page? Let's go down to page 20. So here in this text box, there is it seems that there's some overset text. You'll know because there's like a little red box here with a plus mark. So you can click on it and create a new text box, or you can link it to another text box, and that makes these text boxes linked. But it seems that our overset text is only a couple extra spaces, so we can just delete that and that'll clear that error. So let's go back to export. We're going to replace that file name. Smallest file size, the settings that we had before have stayed, so I'm going to export. It seems that the document's transparency blend space doesn't match. Basically, what this is saying is that I am working in a different color space, so RGB versus CMYK. They're a little different between what I'm working in, what I'm trying to export. Don't worry about that too much right now. Just press OK. Here is the file exporting. And so you can open this in Adobe Acrobat. And I would always recommend to everybody, make sure you check the file in Adobe Acrobat before submitting it, whether it's to the printer or to your teacher, and check every page for any mistakes. Maybe oftentimes your photos will rasterize or compress very poorly. This one seems like my pie looks pretty good. So I'm going to keep that as it is. And let's look at the file size. So it seems that it's pretty good. You want to keep below about 15 megabytes is the highest you want to go, but it's better to stay below 10 megabytes. And if you are ever above that, you can always in Adobe Acrobat try to do a final Hail Mary and try to reduce file size again. It'll open up this dialog box. I'm going to save it where it already was with the same name. Going to replace it. Sometimes you might want to name it something different. Actually, let's name it something different. Let's name it Reduced, just in case it looks worse than the original. Cool. So it has reduced it from 198 kilobytes to 132 kilobytes, which is an improvement. All right. I believe that is all you need to know for now. But if you need any additional help, you know where to find us. Thanks, everybody.